So I'm going to go and Google here and say colorful bird. Okay, and then again I go to images and I start looking, oh, this is all the junk. We don't want to use those. We go larger than, and we can choose something like maybe 10 or 12 megapixels. So everybody used this bird because the very first bird in Google, they were like, yeah, I want that one. Because it's there. Not saying people behind me or anything, but that was a very popular bird. I have lots of copies of that. So let's look at, see if there's another bird in here. How about this one? All right, and I like this one right off the bat because I can see when I zoom in, I see all this detail. That's important. It has to have high detail. You always use photos that are taken by, you know, professionals or with good cameras for this, because if you don't have that detail, it's not going to turn out. So I'm going to copy this image, put it in Photoshop, so I'm going File, New. I'm leaving all this information alone. This is the size of the document. It's just imported from the clipboard, so I don't want to change any of this. And I'll paste it in. All right, so this is going to be a little bit different than the workflow I showed you, in the fact that this is a non-destructible workflow, it's called. So we're going to be using this, the yin-yang. All those like threshold and levels can be found here. So check this out. Yin-yang, first thing I want to do is black and white it. What's nice about doing it this way is I could toggle it on and off, and I can see, well, there's oranges, there's yellows, and greens. And the greens are located down below here. The greens are the darkest, and right here I can get all three of the colors in view and be zoomed in. So what I want to do is turn this back on and then go like this until I can see the detail in the wings now, right there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Some of the oranges, and now I can see just a couple of the little lines over here. If I use spacebar, I can toggle around. But I do not want to do this. I do not want to take all the color out because then it overblows the pixels. And overblown pixels don't print correctly. So I just want enough so I could still see detail and still know that these are three separate colors. I know this is a lighter color than this color, and this color is a lighter color than this color. So I have to have all the colors separated via black and white. All right, that looks pretty cool. Again, I could toggle it on and off. Next, I'm going to take this and do a marquee selection around it and go Edit, Copy, Merge, Edit, Paste. What that'll do is it'll take all these three layers and turn it into one layer. And then I'll do that thing, that image adjustment invert. Unfortunately, I don't have a non-destructive way to do that. Not yet anyway. And then this is a negative, okay? A negative of a positive. So if I turn it to the color dodge, the reason things disappear is it's a perfect negative of a positive. So that means the pixels are on top of each other, blocking each other. And how we push the pixels out is that blur. So that's why things appear when it blurs, is because you're pushing it past the negative. And in this case, I just need a little bit, not much. If I see this gray appear, I know gray can turn to black very quickly with this workflow. If I go too far, I get too thick of lines. So that's kind of a thick line right here. So I'd want to tailor that down to something like that. That's a little bit thinner. Okay, hit OK. That's the most destructive part. Now, next, threshold. Again, we go down to the yin-yang. Go down to threshold. And I can drag this up a little bit. All right, now, some things I didn't show you in the video because you just weren't ready for it. This is a nice workflow because I can always go back and I can play around with these sliders now and see if I can get variations of the same bird. That's pretty sweet. Another thing that's nice about it is the fact that what I'm going to do is take this and make a copy of it. I'm going to show you two tools I use all the time for this workflow. Dodge and burn. Burn adds detail. Dodge takes away detail. So, for example, if I go to burn, and then I go to the top and change the exposure to like 5% and take protective tones off, if I go in this area where there's no detail, I can just kind of touch it and detail appears. Okay, that helps. That really does. Same with right here. Maybe I want some more detail to appear. Now, let's say I have too much detail in this area. Well, I could go to the other tool, and that's the dodge tool. Okay, and then I'll zoom in, just go like this. You can see it's taking away detail. Especially in the beak, where the beak was black. You know, maybe you don't want that much black in there. Some of these lines are really thick, so I could probably go in here and thin up these lines. Very cool. Okay, so that's how you really add a much more clarity of detail onto it. Okay, one thing about this workflow is these layers aren't really all the way initialized. You have to do some stupid trick like this. I think I showed you this in the video, where I did a marquee select. I did edit, copy, merge, and edit, paste. And what that does, look at, now it got a lot darker. Okay, so that means you'd have to go down and adjust your layers a little bit lighter just to get the what you really want approach to things. So if I want that to be a lot lighter, I'd have to make this lighter, and then again I'll try it out. Edit, copy, merge, edit, paste. That's better. I like that. And what's really neat is you keep doing that over and over, and you got variations. See, this one's too dark, this one's too light. What happens? Well, maybe I take this one and turn it to multiply, and I'm good to go, and maybe I can turn this one down. There's so many different things you could do with this workflow. It's ridiculous. But look at the detail on that. That's pretty neat for a photo to turn into a black and white. Pretty easy. And what's nice about it is the client gets really picky about things. So if the client's picky, I could just say, well, client, I'm just going to adjust this a little bit, and then you can go on with life, and I can get away from you. And there we go. See? Better, darker. That's what you wanted. I like having adjustments after the fact. That way I can give the client tons of options. So when we do digital photography, I teach it the same way. I teach you how the fact that, you know, if her hair color is just 1/10 of a millimeter off from what she normally thinks it is, of course she's going to complain about it. So then I can show you just how to target autumn color or brown. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you. That's another way. Again, I recorded that, so I'll just throw it to wherever I need. If you want a variation of it already, though, you haven't got that far, but in YouTube, instead of going here, under Illustrator, there's this one with the fire truck. That thing's amazing. So that's another way to do it, and it's kind of the same way I just approached, but this time it was dealing with vectors. So if you want another way to do it, you're going to want all 10 or whatever variations of this, because you're going to be using it all the time. I could put this on a t-shirt very easy now. This would go on a t-shirt any day of the week. Before, that photo would never go on a t-shirt. So, all right, any questions? No? All right, proceed with the learning. Good to go.
This is the letter of recommendation sheet.
Oh, this is what all you, oh, you get a form. That's cute.
Yeah.